Come with the chant down Bobby line one more time. How are we doing? Oh, we're good. Okay, things are working today. Talk to please talk to me. Bring a voice of the Rasta man to educating and something. How I know. How I know. I know. Something about reggae music. Chant down Babylon music. Chant down Babylon. Chant down Babylon. Chant that. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing this morning? Ooh, goodness gracious. Did we not have some goodies this morning? Good morning. Oh, we didn't have some goodies. What is that woman's name? Oh my goodness great. Nah, I'm not supposed to say that. She's not a woman. Never mind. What is our Greta's name? She's our Greta. She's our Greta. Ignore the fact that she is 30 years old. Nope, she looked like she's 18, so she's gonna be our Greta. Oh, she was off the hook. If you did not watch Todd, what the hell is Todd's last name? I don't know. I don't even know. It's a slave name anyway. He's Todd. He's a wave creature. What is that woman's name? Kelly, is it Kelly Louise? Which is kind of weird because I think we got another Kelly Louise. Oh, she is our Greta. She is off the charts. That girl that's why I'm late today. That's right. I'm late today because I'm watching somebody that's 22 and I'm 29 explain how the world works. And I was just elated. I was elated, people. If y'all didn't watch it, you need to watch it. Let me bring the comments in. Good morning, everybody. Oh, what a wonderful morning. Between that and this dude in New York City, do y'all know who the hell I'm talking about? Oh my goodness, I love examples of politics and elections actually being the conspiracy theory that they control power and money. Power and money control the planet. They've always controlled the planet. They're going to control the planet now. They're going to control the planet later. It's going to control the planet after the election. Controls the planet before the election. It's going to control the election. It's going to control the elected people. Okay? Great example in New York City. Great example. What was that man's name? Hang on a second. I love it when a plan comes together, and I love when history documents how the world works. It does not how it works how you want it to work. It does not work on emotions. Billionaires and trillionaires do not just give you their nations. They don't give you their economies. They don't give you their slaves. And they damn sure ain't gonna give you your freedom back. And that's assuming that you're slaves. We're not even slaves. Like I said, we're commodities. I know what a slave is. And slaves, they get universal health care. Master care about the slaves. The commodities, oh, they just use for whatever they want to be used and abused for. What was his name? Hang on. Anybody post it? Woo! About to go to the beach, Danielle. Danielle's going to the beach. Danielle, well, you got rules, girl. You got rules. You got to follow the rules. You got to follow the slow release. Y'all get to go to the beach rules, okay? I hadn't seen the rules yesterday. You wasn't here, so I'll enlighten you, let you know what the rules are if you want to go to the beach. If you want to go to the beach, you certain things you can't take. You can't take radios, you can't take speakers, you can't take your iPod, you can't take a blanket, you can't take flip-flops. I think you can't take your mouth. You gotta leave your mouth at home. You can't take no boogers with you. You gotta leave your viruses and your Rona at home. You can't take umbrellas. You can't take ropes. You can't take, I don't think you can take food. The beaches have rules, girl. You can't just go to the beach. You can't just say, I'm just gonna go to the beach. Who you think you are? You think you a goddess or something? Mm-mm. You don't just get to go to the beach. You gotta follow the rules. Ooh, I need to talk about flip-flops and them flip-flopping. Oh, what is this man's name? Hang on, let me share this to one more page. In fact, I gotta share this to Danielle's page. The Green News Network. If y'all don't follow the Green News Network or Daniel St. John, you need to. You need to turn off that Fox. You need to turn off that CNN and CBS and ABC. But I thought the children were fighting. No, that's just for animation. We do that just to get y'all to get excited. Because don't nobody watch us unless we fight. And I know how my friends work. Oh, do I know how my friends work? I just, is Tony okay? Y'all check on Tony? Tony, oh goodness gracious, Lord, I hadn't seen that post last night. Like, oh my God, the British is coming for Tony. Like, the British ain't coming for Tony. I was chill. I was like, no, they're not, don't they? Ah! I know. Y'all take. Listen. I take things seriously, but I understand the world work how I want to work, and no. Well, Tony was scared. He was in the closet, and Tony might have been a little frightened, but don't worry. If somebody showed up at Tony doing, Tony had to do what he needed to do. Tony gonna do what he needed to do. I don't get excited. I'm not a get excited person. I'm not excited. I'm just, hey, keep calm, chant down Babylon. Keep calm, chant down Babylon. We need to talk about this man. Do y'all know about this man? No, not Todd Church, but if you did not watch Todd Church, please go back and watch Todd Church from this morning. He had his guest, which is Kelly Louise, not our Kelly Louise. We got another Kelly Louise. It's Kelly Louise. And then you got Klley Louise. I made a post. You need to follow her. This young woman is on it. She's actually 29, but she looked kind of like she could be Greta's age. So I think we just call her our new Greta. Oh, the girl was talking about Deborah Tavares and Stop the Crime. I didn't even listen to the whole stream. I got in there halfway. All I heard was stopthecrime.net. And I was like, done, done. I'm going to stop researching this dude in New York by the name of Robert Moss. Was it Robert Moses? No, it's Robert Moses. I thought it was Moss. Okay, Moses. And I listened to her. She was blowing the spot up this morning. Oh, what happened to YouTube? Is YouTube not up? Hang on. YouTube couldn't get it up. Hang on. Let me check the Viagra button. Hold on. YouTube, y'all okay? Y'all, somebody over there? Y'all over there? What's going on with YouTube? Y'all get your Viagra? Let me see. Then they dump it in the water. Oh, they over there. Okay, it's just only 3 of them so far. All right, we'll let y'all spin it up. Good morning, everybody. Oh, how y'all doing this morning? I need to talk about Robert Moses. Let me stop this music because I'm late. I was enjoying listening to somebody at the age of 29, which is my age, explain how the world works. Oh man, people at 29 get it. If you're 30, you're not understanding how this works. Age is a cult, baby. I'm trying to tell you, age is a cult. Don't get in that cult. They'll give you a nocebo effect, and the next thing you know, you'll be getting out to bed. You know who started me on this? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know who started me on that? It was Helena. It was Helena Summer. She started me on that. I remember she came on. I interviewed with her about 1.5 years ago. And it usually takes me about 1.5 years to change from my stubborn ways. Change from my evil ways. I'm a man. That's just what we do. It takes us that. Just give us the information. Give us a minute. Let us think about it for a little bit. Let it marinate. Don't just keep beating us over the head with it. Let it marinate. She started me on that. It was her, and it was my witches on here. Why you call them women witches? Not every woman is a witch. Now you don't understand what I'm saying. Witches are the ones I listen to. I don't listen to women. I don't care nothing about what women got to say. I don't care nothing about what men got to say. I don't care nothing about black people, yellow people, red people. But if you a witch or a warlock, you got something I need to hear. You know something. You can fly, make a witch potion, something. Tell me about some green tea. You know what's in the soil. You know how the ecosystem works. I listen to witches, and it was the witches and Helena Summer. They said, Gerard, why you keep calling yourself old? Why you don't do that? You gonna jack yourself up. I'm like, shut up. Y'all know what y'all talking about. Y'all don't even know. Yeah, why you keep calling yourself old? I said, at my age, when I get old, because I spend my time with mostly old people. Like, I believe in the elders. I believe they got stuff to teach me. Young people ain't got so much to teach me, y'all. I appreciate the Greta passion, but, the content, the data, that's the problem I have an issue with. But she started me on that. And finally, I got it and I get it. I'm trying to explain to people, age is a cult. Don't believe it. Don't trust it. Don't give yourself a nocebo effect that's going to kill you. Don't do it. Because I started getting out to bed about a couple months ago. You start making them noises. Anybody at that age where you start getting out of bed and you making noises that you ain't supposed to, because I don't know why it's like they're making it, why does that make things easier? I don't know, but it does. And before you know it, you're going to be mimicking all the old people around you, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your older brother, your older sister. And I'm going to go ahead and let them get old and die. I ain't going to get old and die. So I'm 29. I'm just not going to engage in that nocebo effect because your body believes it. You are a manifester. You know how we did that? That you manifest things. You manifest your own reality. Literally, you make things come to you. You call things in the universe when you really get in tap and get your conscious and your subconscious and your spiritual self going, that you call things to you. You can call old age too. You can call the hell out of old age. You can pick up the phone. Hey, is this Alzheimer's? Yeah, I'm gonna need some of that. Can you bring me some muscle spasms, and I want some problems with my heart, I want some cardiovascular disease and a little autoimmunity. Can you bring that to me? Okay, then I'm 57. All right, done with that. That's how that works. It's the nocebo effect. Look it up. Age is a cult. Ooh, Robert Moses. We got to talk about Robert Moses. Robert Moses. Do I got a picture of Robert Moses? Ooh, no, I don't. But I'm looking at a picture of the UN building. Let me show you this. Ooh. I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when all this stuff just starts to link up and you start to really see how the world works. You know, because at the time, nobody knew who Robert Moses was. You know, they say Robert Moses built New York City. They said Robert Moses, he was the most powerful unelected person in New York. For 44 years, he ran New York City and ain't nobody voted for him. Well, that's not true. He did run once and nobody voted. No, it's not. About 3 people voted for Robert Moses, but he ran New York City. He told the governors what to do, or the governor what to do. He told the elected politicians what to do. And everybody in New York was voting the whole time. The power of bureaucracy. The power of the deep state. New York has a deep state like Tupelo, Mississippi, like the United States, like Ireland, because there are people who realize that between all these elected officials, the real power stays in power, and that's what a deep state is. So Robert Moses, if I'm allowed to speak on anybody from New York City here, can I cultural appropriate and tell you about your own damn city if you don't know about how New York City was built? Robert Moses built it. He was not elected. He was in parks and planning, or parks and recreation, whatever that was. A guy who wrote a book about him. Let's bring up Robert Moses' picture real quick. Robert Moses. And by the way, the reason why the headquarters for the United Nations, who's in charge of the CDC, and the only reason they're in New York is because of Robert Moses. So you probably start putting links together. So this man basically built New York City and told everybody where to get on, where to get off, and literally where we're gonna put the tolls and who gonna pay them. He built New York City. He had a book. Does anybody know the name of his book? Did anybody read the book? Because I need to talk to you. You need to give me your notes and your summaries, because I'm probably not going to read the book. I do an audio book while I'm in the garden today. But this is a great example of how your world works. Power and money run your world. Period. End of story. That's it. When you see your politicians flip-flopping, which is why the flip-flops are behind me, it's not because they're flip-flopping. It's because they never had the flop. No, all they had was the flop, and the power of money was the flip. So when they get in office, they flip-flop them. All right, they flip-flop them. But also, the whole theory of the flip-flop, it's not really even a shoe. Like your politician ain't really a politician. Like your government ain't really a government. And but the flip-flop is important. Right? You get outside and you flip-flop, Danielle, go to the beach, you're supposed to wear flip-flops. Why? Because it's microbiology and virus and bacterial matter and boogers and snot, and the dog ran on the beach before you peed in the sand, and you're supposed to get that on your toes. You're supposed to get it on your toes. You're not supposed to put Purell on there. Your body takes it in. It's information. So when they flip-flop, that's a good example of your politicians aren't actually in control. This dude Robert Moses was. So he ran, nobody elected him. And then after that, he took up parks and planning, I believe it's called. He realized that he ran for the poor man's office. He ran the illusion. Once he became parks and planning, you know what this man did? Oh, he genius, freaking genius and psychopath. I told you, you need to watch him. But see, in parks and planning, you determine where the buildings go. You determine where the roads go. You determine who gets to have access to Manhattan. You get to determine who has to stay on a little island. Where they out there on them little islands, they either have industrial income or they have powerful international billionaires working in high towers income. And so what Robert Moses did, he decided, you know, some people we need to prefer and other people we don't need to prefer. And so he had the ability to make the decisions of what goes where, how, and who. He didn't have the money. So guess what he did? He put the tolls in. Tolls, T-O-L-L, which is why I'll never go to New York City. I'll never go to New York City because it cost me $800 to, no, it's free to get in. But it cost me like $800 to get out. Now I can't afford to go to no damn city and breathe in brake dust and pay $800 to escape New York. Nope, that was a movie and I didn't like the movie. I like the movie, but I don't want to live the movie. So nah, I need to escape New York, but it cost me $800 in tolls to get out. Guess where the tolls go? For the 44 years this man scammed y'all and ran your damn city, all the tolls went to him. Well, his department, all the tolls went to him. So now he had the money to tell your politicians where they can get on and get off. Say, oh, you don't want to bring in my UN building? Or you don't want to bring in my homies, my cronies, the people who believe in the philosophies of having a majority and minority to control and uncontrolled. You don't believe in that? Well, let's do this. We're going to take this bridge and we're going to reroute this bridge around your district. We're going to put a bypass in. And we're going to bypass your whole main street. We're going to fail your whole government unless you play ball with me. That is called a deep state, people. Anytime you elect people and they don't have any say, somebody else is having a say. When they flip-flop, that means that deep state stops. It's happening. I love the story of Robert Moses. I don't know anything else about him. There's a good NPR thing on him, which I disagreed with like 82% of the content of that. But there were great things in the NPR interview talking to the author of the book. What was the name of the book? Let me go over here to my history, see if I can show you. And I never heard of Robert Moses. I don't even know how this came to. It's probably learning software. Oh, goodness gracious. What a morning. I didn't even greet nobody as I'm going off in here. Good morning, everybody. Deep states, as above, so below. If somebody owns New York City, somebody owns Tupelo, Mississippi, somebody owns the United States, somebody owns Australia. If the deep state is always there through your elections, if billionaires know that they can't trust you with their country, they can't trust you with the economy, they can't trust you with trade, they're going to put a deep state in and make sure they can control everything. So every toll went to him. He basically told the politicians what to do. This dude, Robert Caro, wrote a book about him. Let me see if I can, this is a quick one. I mean, it's a long 20 window. I want to play that. I want to try to find a quick little summary. Oh, and how we know about it, because this dude, Edward Norton, was on Rogan. And apparently they're doing a movie about Robert Moses. So hopefully we can get the discussion going about who he is prior to Hollywood doing what they need to, because you know what they need to do. You need to do the same thing Disney needs to do, the rest of them need to do. The same thing that Walmart and Target and all the big box stores are doing right now. This all related, people. It's all related. I posted it yesterday, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, you know why you're what? It's just a theory. It's a theory of mine. Now that I know that money and power runs the whole world. Anybody find a little odd we're still on lockdown and we got the slow release of lockdown? Anybody out there know of anything called a big box store that has captive customers now? They got to spend all their money at Walmart, Target, and all the stores that are open, Home Depot and Lowe's. I don't know, let's say for a minute, who's that? Kim Jackson? Let's say Kim Jackson, you own Home Depot. And everybody had to buy their socks and toilet paper and paper towels and cleaning supplies and wood and lumber and everything from you, because they were captive customers, because they shut down all the poor people's businesses, all the non-billionaires' businesses. And let's say, I don't know, you were making billions of dollars a week. Every week the lockdown went on, you made billions more dollars and billions more dollars and billions more dollars and would you want less of those billions, Kim Jackson, or more of those billions? If you knew that there's always a bureaucracy and a deep state, you know there were always politicians that need the money, and whoever got the most lobbied money, the ones who will always win the next election. Would you call up the politicians in your state, in your city, say, you know what? Yeah, this lockdown thing, it's doing us pretty good. It's going pretty well for us. But you wouldn't really do it that way. You wouldn't make it obvious. I believe in plausible deniability. You know what I would do, Kim Jackson? I would take $30 million, because $30 million ain't nothing to me. I'm making billions of dollars. I'd take $30 million, Start up some little grassroots thing. Look, y'all go out there and find some research on viruses and wave twos and other things and figure out what speakers do on beaches and link that to some viruses and other stuff so Danielle can't go play her loud music on the beach. And somehow link that to we need to be a little more cautious and open a little slower. So instead of just opening because it's flu season and the CDC proved that, we need to open slow. Why? Because if we open and it takes 8 weeks to open up, Kim Jackson can make $8 billion more and all she got to pay is $30 million. You see how that works? No, I'm not saying that they're doing that. I'm just saying that power and money run the world, and I guarantee you these big box corporations and their suppliers want to have captive customers for another 8 weeks to 8 months. That's all I'm saying. Money and power makes the world go around. It's election year. I get that you're emotional, but you need to stop believing these politicians. They flip and they flop because they don't own the flip nor the flop.
First, Jones Beach is on one side, the wonderful side of Robert Moses. He creates the world's greatest bathing beach. In Long Island, there was no place for the masses of New York City, by which was meant then white middle-class people. They were just, the automobile age was just flowering. It was the 1920s, and he's creating Jones Beach. It's an act of great inspiration. But he doesn't want poor people, and in particular poor people of color, to use Jones Beach. So what he does, poor people in the 1920s and 30s don't have automobiles. So the only way they can get to Jones Beach is by mass transportation.
I'm gonna pause here, because unfortunately they like to attach our identity to pride. And unfortunately, power doesn't give two damns about your race, your color, your religion, your nation. All power money cares about is power money. So let's not get lost in people that, yeah, this is about race. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with power and money. There was a group that he didn't like at the time, and he did what he needed to. It needs to apply to today. Why? Because they're about to make the hippies the new Negroes, all right? They're about to make natural people, the people getting in the way of profit, the people who aren't consumers, the people who aren't buying all these medications and on lifelong medicine, get all their flu shots and vaccines. You about to be the new black people in this story, so don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, all right? Keep watching the story. Economics determines everything, and this is why you got a Rikers Island in New York.
So he takes care of the railroad side of that very easily. The Long Island Railroad wants to build a spur to Jones Beach. He just says no. But they can also get out there by bus. He doesn't want to take any chances of that. So the parkways out there, first he has legislation passed that buses can't use the parkways, which are the only way to Jones Beach. But then, as his chief aide once said to me, Amy, he said, the commissioner, they called him the commissioner knew that legislation can always be changed. You can't change a bridge when it's up.
Legislation can always be changed. You can't change a bridge when it's up. If you get the toll money from everybody that goes in New York City, every road and every bridge, you can always buy the next piece of legislation, and you can guarantee the bridges go up in the right section. This is how this works. These people are engineers. They're not stupid. These people have been engineering this world for a very long time. And New York is just a very small example of that. They don't tell you how they engineer. They engineer things on the lower level. They create a lower class and a prison class and a middle class, and they decide. You have deciders. They decide for you. Like George Carlin said, they own you, and they will determine how things go for the next 100+ years in your nation, your world, your region, or your state. They planned all this stuff out a long time ahead of time because they don't vote, which is why he only ran once. Then he realized what actually decides. It's never elections. Elections and politics are a conspiracy theory that money and power do not decide everything at all times.
So if you drive out to Jones Beach, you see along the Southern State and the Meadowbrook Parkways, the roads to Jones Beach, clearance, there are 173 of these bridges. clearance 13 9 inches, clearance 10 feet, because buses needed 14 feet of clearance, so people couldn't get there to buses. One of the revelatory moments of my life and Ina's life, I wanted to see how this affected over the decades. So now I'm doing the Power Broker. It's not 1930 anymore when he opened it. It's now, let's say, 1970, 40 years later. There's one big parking lot in Jones Beach with four underpasses that people use to get to the beach. We stood there, I had a pad, and I said whites, Latinos, blacks. And to this day, one of the moments that shaped my career as a biographer was the rage, really, that kept building in me as you said all these things for the white people, the number, hardly any for the Latinos, and even less for the blacks. You said, this is what public works, public policy does to the powerless, to poor people, and how long the effect of it lasts.
Last a lot longer than that when you still believe in politics. Last a lot longer than that when you still believe in emotions to run your world. Oh, it's a great example, people. It's a great example of the deep state, which is why I say, why flip-flops? Why flip-flops and flip-flops? Flip-flops because you need to get your feet in the mud. You need to be working with the microbiology in your environment, not be too damn sterile. Otherwise, you got to worry at flu season and be on lockdown and have a slow opening because Walmart and Target and Kmart, not JCPenney because they bankrupt, they all want to keep you as captive customers, buying from them and just destroying your middle class, okay? That's why you wear flip-flops. And then why do they flip-flop? Because there's always a deep state that tells them exactly the hell what to do. That's that. Oh, it's genius. Making sure that certain people can't go to the beach by making the bridges certain heights and not sending the railroad to their neighborhoods. And this includes poor whites. So this is the thing that he's trying to do and explain that at that time that was who the unpopular is. And the unpopular now is all the poor whites, the Mexicans, the blacks, and the Asians, and all of y'all ain't got $1 billion in the bank. If you don't own a Walmart or a Target, that's why the UN building is in New York. So I don't know a lot about Robert Moses. I will tell you this, he has a very interesting story that we need to do some research into. And so the last thing I saw on Wikipedia about Robert Moses is he was the one who was instrumental. See, when the UN was coming to the United States, when the UN invaded the United States, because that actually is what it was an invasion. You can call it whatever you want. You needed somebody on the inside building up a beachhead to make sure that your criminal billionaires can just have a good landing where they don't fire a shot. And the UN was trying to decide, is it going to end up in Philly? And who is the UN? Well, of course, you know the UN is owned by those Rockefellers and Rothschilds, the families that they tell you only conspiracy theorists say that run the world. Those conspiracy theorists that say power and money run the world. And we know it's not that. We know it's our elected officials. We know that the billionaires and the trillionaires would definitely let the poor people who can't go to Jones Beach decide what happens in the billionaires and trillionaires nation. Oh, I love it. I love it. So that's deciding. We got more sellouts in Philly or in New York? And apparently they got one fantastic sellout in New York who already believe in the idea of creating an underclass and people down there, creating a prison system, putting all them people in there. All right, there's someone who already believed in the New World Order because he was setting up a New York World Order. And so the New World Order, the UN, it landed its invasion in New York City. New York City. New York City. What a great example of the deep state. And that's what I'm saying. When your politicians flip-flop, that's when it's time to grow up and realize they're not flipping and flopping because they're changing their minds. They're flipping and flopping because they don't actually get to decide. All right, done with that. That's it. Other than that, I'm going to read the comments. And then I'm going to go get my feet dirty. Go get my feet dirty. Not at the beach. No, I ain't going to the beach, Danielle. Ain't enough mud at the beach. Ain't enough microbiology and soil and ain't enough dogs pooping in there. I'm going to the garden. Besides, you can't do nothing at your beach, not no way. You go to the beach and stand. You can go stand and do a kumbaya social distancing circle. Y'all can sing kumbaya, but you can't hear each other singing it because you got to stand 6 feet apart. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Woo, Brother Jack, good morning. We got some power, Jack. The only power we got, as you know, is unity. That's the only power we got. And if people don't like you, they're never going to unite with you. If you still holding things against people from 300 years ago, they're not going to like you. You still holding things against people from 2 posts ago, they're not going to like you. If you accept everybody as a god and goddess, leave it where that is, then people want to unite with you. Walk on okra. Get that snot on your feet. Hell no. Jonathan, I got slugs in my garden. I don't need to walk on okra. I'm getting plenty of microbiology and disgusting anaerobic stuff from the slugs. I read something yesterday. Shame is expecting your past self to know as much as you do now. Ooh, Kim Jackson. I'm saying it one more time. Shame is expecting your past self to know as much as you do now. Shame shouldn't exist, Kim Jackson. Anybody who's ashamed of themselves, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. You know, every day you go to sleep and wake up, you're a different person. You ain't got to be the same bastard from yesterday. And every day, Kim Jackson, I wake up, I don't feel no shame about yesterday. I get up in the morning, half the time I just look back at me yesterday, and I think he's just a different creature. I look back at yesterday like, damn it, that dude was stupid. You know what that monkey done did? I don't feel shame because I ain't him. I kind of believe in string theory. When you go to sleep and you wake up, you jump dimensions or something and you manifest something new. So I don't know. But nobody should feel no shame on anything. Now, apologizing is different, right? If you did something wrong, then understand most people still live in the corporeal world where they believe that you're a human being, not a wave spiritual creature, god, goddess. Yeah, they're still looking at you, you did something wrong. Apologize, tell them that you love them, you made a mistake, blah, 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 blah. But don't feel shame for yourself, because once you learn that it was wrong, you've already should have jumped and made made the difference up from the mistake made from yesterday. Every day is new information. Take a new day to change every damn day. If you're not changing every day and you look back and you still agree with who you were 10 years ago, then you ain't growing. Something is wrong. I love grounding without mother. Oh, without mother? Enoch, how do you do that? That's what you said. I know, I put you on blast yesterday. That's what he said. Look, he said, I love grounding without mother. Somebody asked Enoch, how you do that? How do you ground without mother? How you do that? Because mother is the ground. I know he meant with our mother. I get that. I know. I do too. I like grounding in water. I like aquatic grounding. Sound like Danielle probably knows about that too. But if you go aquatically ground, you're coming in contact with the water, which is coming in contact with the soil all throughout. And I feel different when I ground in the garden than when I ground at the stream or the lake. Good morning. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Christ. Good morning, Courtney. Let me see. Carrie's never been to New York City. You should go, Carrie. You should take a good field trip and go look around. New Year's Day. Oh, but you got to take a mask because they got to break dust, because that study that said that all the dust in the high rises is not dust, it's break dust. Which is why you have all of that asbestos and lungs and lung problems. So don't breathe in the air. Take your mask when you go to New York City, and not the Home Depot mask, but the real rebreathing mask. But also be careful where you go, Carrie, because the sister said this morning that they're putting I don't know how you say it, the upgrade from 4G, because you're not supposed to say the full name. They're putting that on top of apartment buildings. So be very, very careful when you go to centralized cities. Anywhere the population is centralized is going to be a highly dangerous place to be, especially in the coming depression. 4G caused cancer, caused DNA damage, and that's 4.2 gigahertz. 5G is 60 gigahertz. If you don't know what that means and you can't do the math, then you know. If people had problems when the wave were two feet apart and now the wave is 2 inches apart, and multiple times that thing is interfacing with your cells as it's broadcasting lightning fast internet to the robots that's coming to kill us. If you don't know what that means, then you should go stand right in front of the tower and tell us how it goes. But please live stream it so we can see. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, don't do it. No, I forgot this is the internet. You can't. No, nobody. Don't do that. Yeah, it's as seen on TV, and they're telling you that it's safe the same way that Monsanto executive, that dude told you that glyphosate was safe, and it was like water, you could drink it. But somebody gave him the water, he wouldn't drink it. When I see somebody rolling out these towers, go stand in front of it and eat lunch, then we might have a conversation. Until then, these people are up to something. Ooh, the deep state has layers and many minions. It does, Janie Block. It does. And I don't know, why can't people see that though? That's the thing that I don't understand, Janie. Why can't people see is as above, so below? If it works in New York City, it'll work in Louisiana. If it works in Louisiana, it'll work in Ireland. If it works in Ireland, it'll work in Australia. Works in Australia, they're gonna put it in Africa. Like, that's just how this works. And that's the fun thing about like having friends from all over the world on the internet, which is why they're shutting this thing down and they're locking up conversation, is you got people who are agreeing across the board in multiple nations on multiple continents that this is how this works. There's always a deep state. They never put in front of you. It's always the Wizard of Oz. You always have this curtain in front of what's really actually happening. Citizen Dev, howdy, Citizen Dev. Howdy, G, howdy, howdy, howdy. That's my favorite brother, Woody. He told you somebody poisoned the water hole and you're supposed to listen. Somebody peed in your government. You need to listen up. Don't drink it. Don't drink it. That's not government. That's not, I know. It tastes like government sometimes, but it's not government. It's got elections like government. It's not government. That's a corporation. That's P. I want to shower under $1 million. No, you don't, Kevin. Because you know why, Kevin Lynn? Because you very truthful right now. But if they shower you under $1 million, you ain't going to be truthful. You ain't going to be Kevin Lynn. You're going to be Kevin Broken, right? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if people don't understand how that works, you're in big trouble. The minute that you join that big club, the next big club above you, you become a portion of the deep state. That's how that works, unfortunately. Like, ooh, I got a new theory. In listening to the NPR interview, I have a new theory about presidents. Well, not really a new one, but it's expanding. Because he was talking about Lyndon Johnson, how Lyndon Johnson got in. And everybody said, oh, you can't do anything with the civil rights movement. And he decided, oh, I'm going to do something about the civil rights movement. But of course, don't let that get you twisted and think, yeah, Lyndon Johnson. No, because Lyndon Johnson was with them dudes and to help kill Martin Luther King. Unfortunately, all right, we had the FBI release records, Hoover knew, and the whole thing about that, remember, Martin Luther King died because of Vietnam. He ain't died because he was fighting for civil rights. He died because he turned against the war machine. Why? Because Lyndon Johnson was taking big money from the Texas oil companies. Why? Well, what is in Vietnam? The war, Lyndon Johnson's war. What's in Vietnam? Rubber. What needs rubber at the time? Not tinder, because they didn't have no tinder back then. All they had was cars, automobiles, right? So they needed the rubber from Vietnam and those slave plantations to make sure that the automobiles actually had rubber so they could drive down the road so everybody would buy big oil. See how this works? And so he worked together with the inside, the top of the civil rights movement right underneath Martin Luther King to get the man murdered. All right, to get the man murdered. Now, unfortunately, what was the guy's name? You got him actually on tape bragging about it. Oh, I had to get out the way because the black dude, the black preacher, what was his name? I had to get out the way. And Dr. William Pepper, who told you how all this works. This is all a state-run thing from the very beginning. That's what I'm saying. Don't trip about race. Don't waste your time. You're going to waste everybody's time if you're focusing on people's skin color. You as crazy as the people who gave you the name for your skin color. That's not what you are. We are billions or millions of different cultures and tribes who were all colonized and wrapped up in this big banker blanket to control. But Lyndon Johnson, yeah, it had to do with the oil company, blah, blah, blah. Why was I talking about Lyndon Johnson? Oh, right, my theory. Well, no, I think every president, every prime minister, I think they don't really know the game to the end of the game. I think they all try to do something good. And then they get shown that no, you here, we gonna flip-flop you. But they get everybody emotional. You attach your identity to your race and your president and your party and all this nonsense. And now your pride is about defending somebody that you don't know, ain't never met, ain't never gonna text you, email you, write you, send you love card, no roses, no flies. when your husband leave you and your wife finds somebody else, they ain't never gonna even call you. But you will attach your identity and throw away relationships with people you had for 30 years over these people you don't know. I think every president tried, because apparently Lyndon Johnson tried. Sure, so let me ask you a question. What benefit is it that he stood up for the civil rights and you having the right to vote, and then he helped murder Martin Luther King? You tell me what the right... That's how this works. That's unfortunately, when you got power and money, that's how it works. There are a lot of great solutions, but we gotta get rid of power. You cannot have any power over anyone. That's why I say everything goes back to principles. I don't say it. Smarter people than I do. I am. Everything goes back to principles. Everything goes back to principle. Abuse is wrong. And as long as you got power, that person with the power is going to be abused. The lady today was saying that everyone against the shutdown who want to wear a mask are white supremacists who want to pour to something. I heard that, Courtney. I heard that. I heard somebody told me that. They said, yeah, they want to restart society for greed. I was laughing about that. You want to get people killed because you want to make people money. When I hear multiple people say it, that's how I know it's on the news. I don't actually watch the news, Courtney. When I hear multiple people say it, then I know that's what they're being brainwashed to do to say on the news. Which is the difference between the news and live stream. Like, I like live streaming because if I say something incorrect, people can correct it. Like, this is not brainwashing. This is two-way. There's interaction here, right? Like, I say something and you can respond, but on the news, you can't respond. Like, you got to be repetitive and on live streaming, which is why we end up repeating ourselves. Why? Because new people come in the room and new people might have new information, right? And that's how the conversation evolves. It's called discourse. But on the news, you don't get discourse. You just get repetitive subconscious programming. And that's how I know, is when I hear multiple people saying the same thing. It's like, nah, I want to restart. No, they want to restart, going to get people killed because they're greedy. No, you were shut down and you're still on shutdown because you got a Walmart, a Target, and trillionaires making billions of dollars every week because you're a captive customer to Amazon and the rest of these few billionaire corporations. They're basically destroying everything from the upper middle class to the middle class to the lower middle class to the upper middle class to the lower middle class, and who else got businesses? They're shutting everybody down. It's communism. It's basically communism, right? Which is the weird part, Courtney, because the people who want to restart society, they're right, and the people who don't want to restart society, they're right too. Like we talked about yesterday, every side is corrupt. It's always corrupt, right? Like the people who want to restart, they're correct. Your government ain't got no right to tell you to stay in your house. That's slavery was locked. You know, slavery was a shutdown. That was a lockdown. They went to Africa and they went to Ireland, got some people, put them on lockdown, so they could work on their plantation. That was a lockdown too. So no, nobody has a right to lock a god or goddess, a free creature down. Ain't nobody out there locking down hummingbirds. Ain't nobody out there locking down slugs and bugs and all the other free creatures on the planet. The only thing that's locked downable is the human race because they got fear, right? So the people who want to be set free, they're correct. But also the people who don't want to be set free because the society we have is corrupt, dirty, and crony, they're correct too. Both sides have just enough correctness to make them stupid. Nah, it's never wrong word. Ignorant. We need a whole new paradigm shift. We need a whole new world. We need a world that people run the damn world, not corporations, not billionaires, not communism when it wants to be communism, and capitalism when it wants to be capitalism, and socialism when it wants to be socialism. That's controlling everybody. We got to get rid of the power systems. And I'm fine to restart, though. I'm all for the restart because it's already too late. We're already in a depression. We've already broken society. The only difference is now that we're broken, are the people going to demand to take the power back? Or are they going to demand to go back to the billionaires running the power and cheer the New World Order? Which is a sick thing, Courtney, because both sides are cheering the New World Order and they don't even know it. The restart is just restarting society to go back to the last billionaires who controlled and ran every damn thing. And the lockdown is to stay locked down to take us in, to get us to embrace the new digital currency even faster. Right? The longer you keep people on lockdown, the easier you're going to break them. That's why I'm not on these sides of it. I just, for the most part, just watch. I hope the humans figure it out. I love the humans. I love the humans, the H-U-E mans. I love them, but I'm not one of them. I'm just driving this thing. Gerard was shouting out earlier, Kelly Louise is off the hook, Lord. She is our Greta. Absolutely. Absolutely. If y'all don't follow her, you need to follow her. She is a young person, and she's figuring things out. The minute she mentioned Deborah Tavares and StopTheCrime.net, she done got, and then she ground out Brother Todd. Is that, you know what? I don't even know what the word is no more. Because these young people always make new words. Is that his main squeeze? Is that his friend, or is that his honey bunny? What, I don't know, but I noticed how grounded out was. See how polite Todd was? Oh, he was so polite. Ain't nobody in there yelling and screaming at him. It was very calm. It was very laid back. Matter of fact, this is how the world works. We need to fix things. Rebecca Costello is saying politics have no relevance, and they don't at all. At all, Rebecca, at all, zero. The deep state runs all of this. And I started to get indications of that, Costello, with Tom Woods. Tom Woods was one of the guys who was posting all those videos long ago about bureaucracy runs America. He never said deep state, he just said a bureaucracy. He said every administration, the very powerful people are all still in power. The same way this dude was, Robert Moses in New York. That power is always there. They figure it out. They know how to get in beneath the system to give us the illusion of control. Especially in U.S., less in Europe. Definitely, Christine, mostly in the U.S. because the U.S. is the biggest slave plantation on the planet, where everybody's a captive wishing they were slaves, pretending that they're free, because the United States has the world's reserve currency. So there's no way people that have the ability to take back power of their country, if they get a clue and stop fighting each other, there's no way you can let those people have free and truthful information. There's no way you can let those people unite. The billionaires would lose their mind if Americans stopped seeing race and religion and fighting over the aliens and fighting over free energy, if it exists and don't exist. If Americans just said, you know what, we really don't know what's going on, no more secrets. We're done. If Americans just said, you know what, we're not going to vote no more until we have an open source society. Even if we kept capitalism, we can keep capitalism, communist, socialism, the thing that we got right now. We can keep that. We can keep all the billionaires in place, the cronies in place, the millionaires in place, and everybody wants to restart, and the people who want to get that $1,200 check a month. Keep everybody exactly where they are. All you got to do is say open source. Say, no, we're not going to vote for y'all till we're open source. Why? Because we know that you are United States Incorporated. You're not actually America. You're not the Republic, and you're blowing up the whole world, and you control everybody through the Federal Reserve in the Act of 1871. And all you got to do is open source everything. If Americans had access to real information, this whole thing would end quickly. That's like the saying we said, what, take the body cameras off the police and put them on the politicians, and everything will be different in 10 years. All people got to do is see what their dirty politicians are up to. Pride Fest is held in UN Plaza, and no one questions it because they're drunk and stupid. Yes, Hunter, and it makes perfectly good sense. If you can take something evil and attach something decent to it, you can make it seem like it's all okay, right? You can normalize it. Like yesterday, I got to apologize for a post that I took down. I took it down because it's not true. And most times I leave up things that aren't true because I think it's good for people to see that's not true. This one I think was more harmful than anything, but I kind of posted it because I want to know if it was true. The post about LGBTQP, and the post said something like, it already came from Instagram. And the P stood for pedophilia. Anyone who thinks that's true is pedo something. What was it? Pedosexual. That's what the post said it stood for. And it doesn't stand for that. It stood for pedosexual or pansexual. It stood for pansexual, which is something completely different. And I don't know what a pansexual is. I'll be honest with y'all, I don't even really care. I don't care what people do. It's not my business where anybody puts anything anywhere where. I have this thing called a God. It gave everybody free will. It made them, created their DNA, gave them the profiles that they need to be happy and seek whatever. I didn't do any of that, but I took the post down. I took the post down because I think it does more harm than good. But I'm glad that somebody explained it. So no, nobody deleted the post because the deep state and they're trying to protect the pedophiles. Nope. Gerard read down his list and he got to one post and said, you know what? this is probably going to do more harm than it's going to do good. We should probably take it down. And I deleted it. All right. Woo. Dear gods, please do something about the politicians' protectors. Yeah, Jack Hall, unfortunately, I don't think that gods, the aliens, the angels, the demons going to do anything about that. I think the only one who can do it is us. I think we're the only ones. I think we are the ones we've been waiting for. All we can try to do is wake people up. All we can do is share information, and people who are really starting to see that somebody at the age of 29 can figure out the matrix and somebody at the age of 60 can't. That somebody at 29 has more critical thought than people twice and 3 times her age. That's all we can do. We have to do it. But I like that design, Jack. I mentioned that before. I love the design of this. We either all get along or we all die. Right? Enoch has got to get along with Lori, and Lori's got to respect Hunter, and Hunter's got to appreciate Kentucky Fried Mama, and Kentucky Fried Mama got to make sure Citizen Deb has her right to collect water, and Citizen Deb has to make sure Brother Kevin has a right to say what he needs to say, and Kevin needs to make sure that Christine is free and she can grow her garden, and Christine needs to make sure that Jonathan has what he needs. When everybody stands up for each other, then things go the right way. As long as we continue to be bigots of birth and let our birth dictate who we are and not live free lives, live the lives that the billionaires gave us because they needed to create the world in their image. So they created schools and education systems and routes for us to have the right to exist on their planet. We gave everybody debt at birth. Nobody owns any land but billionaires and banks and land government, right? You don't own any land and no landowners here. And to me, it's like a sick psychological thing, Jack, but it's perfect. It's perfect because now we get to decide, right? Are we worth having our own ecosystem, right? Like I was talking about this yesterday. I made a post about something about land, something about land where we don't, bugs and birds and bees and slugs got their own ecosystem to live, but we are guaranteeing our children don't even have land to live on. And I think, was it Sister Clemencia, she trolled me. She said, all right, so I'm going to come to your house and kick you out. You be okay with that? First of all, I need to let y'all know, don't ever threaten me with a good time. I'm the wrong one. I'm still a man. Don't you dare. Don't threaten me with raising the consciousness in my environment by people who want to find out the truth moving to my area. That's number one. Number two is there's enough land in America for everybody in America to have, 16 acres? 16 acres. You think you could be happy on 16 acres? Now we got robots that are literally growing food, spraying cabbage, taking bugs off of plants. If you had the land, you have robots growing your own food, you could have the house the size you want, where you want, why you want. Let's just say that we go back to the Venus Project. The only thing that you had to do, the only requirement is that you were just a steward for the land. You didn't own the land. So as the population grows, your 16 acres, it might become 15. That's okay. But if you love the next generation, you're not worried about that. But the requirement is it's an ecosystem. You're only a steward. You still got to work with the butterflies. You still got to let the deer come and graze. But it's okay. You got drones. You got like the UFO on that television, which is why I tell people UFOs are so important. Somebody's flying free energy devices around this planet, and you could be. You don't need roads no more. One of the most devastating things we have to the ecosystem right now are damn roads. They separate the microbiology and they keep nature from being nature, right? But that, once again, it's this concept of owning things. So yes, I don't agree with ownership. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you, and you didn't come here with. The only thing you came here with was you. That's it. That's the only thing you're gonna take with you is you. So while you're here, try to make things better, a better ride for everybody else. That's all I'm saying. Yes, Kelly Louise is in the house. That's Kelly right there. Y'all should follow her. I friended her and sent her notice. Oh, hey, look, look who Sheena Alexander's in the house. She's another Sheena Alexander. If y'all don't know her, you need to follow her. You need to go find her page. She's another one saying very truthful things. You know what I do when I pick people to follow? Like my main criteria is One, are you saying things that aren't in the news? That's one of the most important things, because all of that's just repeated. All of that stuff is just regurgitated, repeated, and spit back out. You don't need to follow anybody who's saying things that everybody else is hearing on the billionaires. That's number one. Number two, you got to be going to Facebook jail. You got to be being shadow banned or censored or something. That's how Facebook and social media tells us that you are actually going down the right rabbit hole. Three, you got to be like educating me and linking with the research that I have. Like Sister Sheena, she's over in Australia. She's from America. And Sister Kelly, she's over there in Ohio. And we've never met. I don't know them from paint. I don't know them from paint. And by the way, don't ever put no paint in your house. It'll off gas and kill you later, especially in your baby's room. That's the stupidest thing you could do, is create a baby's room and bring all the poison plastic from China and all the petroleum jelly and products and plastic, so it off gases to the baby in the beginning, early years of its life when cells are being created and divided. But no, I don't know them from paint. I don't know them from paint. But we came to a lot of the same understandings. And so I feel if I'm going to promote someone, I'm going to promote people who I know are really starting to see how the matrix works, right? Always look for the matrix code and try to read it. Super control. Yes, Miss Tree, we are super controlled. We're super controlled. We're all controlled opposition too. Like I think she was talking about this morning on her cast that who's controlled opposition? Who is she talking about? David Icke. Somebody said he's controlled opposition, or I think Brother Todd thinks he's controlled. I'm like, that's okay. Everybody's controlled opposition. Learning software sees everything. It controls everything. It controls all the information that you have, that you see, and say, well, I got mine on a flash stick, and I didn't get it from the internet. That's okay. It can go on your laptop and delete it anytime it wants to, right? You know, you hear truthful things and false things, and one of the positions I play here is an IT perspective, when people say things that aren't true, right? And I try to clarify that, and let's keep the debate going. There's nobody's secret on the internet. I had to say the same thing this morning about the dark web. They were telling Sister Kelly she need to go to the dark web. So, you know, ain't nothing darkness in the web, okay? They know it all. They see it all. If you got a device that has a network card, they already see it all. It doesn't matter if it's on the dark web, the black web, the Negro web, the spade web. You can be as light as you, devoid of light as you want to call it. They see it all. And I think learning software controls a lot more than what we think. I don't call it AI because we're not I. We're not intelligent, so ain't no damn way we're making artificial intelligence. The only thing we're making is something that is highly efficiently as stupid as we are. That's all we're going to do, because all it does is learn from us. So it's learning software. And if you're being blocked by learning software, you're being shadow banned, then it means that you're probably saying something that I need to pay attention to. Oh, there we go, an explanation. Thank you, Citizen Deb. Pansexuality is sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people regardless of their sex, gender, and identity. Okay, Citizen Deb, and to be honest with you, I don't know the difference between that and anything else and what I am. I'm a pansexual when I'm attracted to something, right? My pan, it shifts. Sometimes I like thick, sometimes I like skinny, sometimes I like this color, sometimes I like that color, sometimes I want your eyes to be wet, sometimes I like you in jeans, sometimes I like you in them clippity-cloppity shoes, you know? Everybody is pan. You know, you're either agreeing with your pan is the right pan, and somebody else's pan is the wrong pan or not. So to me, I don't really care. When I say I don't really care, I don't care because whatever you want to do is good for you. Right? If you like vanilla, get you some vanilla. You like vanilla with some sprinkles on top, get you some sprinkles on top. You like the vanilla with the sprinkles on top with some damn Oreos, get that too. And I'm all for it. Until you want to lock me down at flu season, because if you get them damn sprinkles and Oreos and Twinkies and put all that on ice cream, ain't no way your body is taking the RNA from the flu this year. You're going to have a lot of issues. That's my only... I agree with bad decisions. I do. I think everybody should be allowed to make all the bad decisions they want, but we need to live in an open source society where you explain to people the consequences of those bad decisions. So yeah, I don't do the pans. I think there's 7 billion different pans on this planet. And if I want to be free to do what I want to do, go where I want to go, then I need to be okay with Sister Jeannie being free to go where she wants to go and do what she wants to do too. All right. Never happened to meet though. I post a lot of true stuff. Yes, you do, Christine. You never happened to. Well, you know what? But you're an adult. That's the thing about Christine. Christine is grown and she's very nice and kind and stuff. And I think that they let you say the truth. They just don't really let you get into detail. Like I'm trying to watch learning software. I'm trying to understand what it's doing. And let me, I guess, preface this. Like, are there people on Facebook and Google and social media platforms watching what you post? Hell yeah, there are. Even VK. Sister Kate just sent me a link just now for VK. Got my pop-up. People in Russia, yeah, there are people doing it, but people are highly efficient. So there's learning software. And the learning software, I mean, you know, the first stage of it, we'll call it function. You can just say, hey, here are the bad words. You know, you can't talk about central banking. You can't talk about Rothschilds, Rockefellers. You can't talk about Robert Caro or Robert Mosses. Like, you can encode that. And that function will go take down posts that are based on that. But that technology, I mean, that's like 30 years old. I used to play with that stuff when I was a kid, just doing search patterns and removing things. We are far more advanced than that. So right now, when people say AI is controlling things, it's not really AI, it's just a learning software. And how I think that works on most platforms is you got NATO, which unfortunately is the Fourth Reich. So if you are cheering the NATO alliance, then welcome to your Nazihood. They have the learning software that just removes posts or shadow bans them that are unpopular. See, it's too obvious when you delete all posts on a certain content. But if they just, or a certain contextual search pattern, but if they just remove posts and or let them stay up and only remove some of them, they remove people from seeing them with shadow banning, then it means they're pulling a curtain up, right? They're pulling that curtain up where we're like, oh, we're allowed to post it. And you don't really realize that it's being shadow banned unless you get into any detail or you talk about it constantly, which is probably what Sister Kate just sent me, which is probably Patricia Negro. She's not allowed on Facebook pretty much at all. She's light banned from Twitter because she stays right on the Zionism. And the software won't let her post that. So I think, Christine, I think maybe you jump around, think about how you post. It'll help us to understand how these things work. But I think if you kind of jump topics and talk about the aliens, do some ancient archaeology, flip back around to being a witch and warlock and God, smack the Rothschilds in the face, then jump on over to New York City and Robert Moss and flip around to the Russian oligarchs. I think if you keep it wide and kind of a little more vague and let people go do their research, the social media platforms will let you do it. They'll let you do it. I wonder if being overseas helps. Yes, Lori, being overseas definitely helps if we're talking about the same thing. America has the greatest police state on the planet. Anywhere outside of that, you're getting less control from Nazis the further out you go. The new Nazis, the Fourth Reich. Remember, it has nothing to do with Nazis, got nothing to do with Germany, got nothing to do with white people, got nothing to do with black people, got nothing to do with, it's all about money and power. And so right now, this is the tip of the Rothschild spear that's destroying the planet. I think so. In Belgium, less woke. But it's getting better, so we're not a danger for now. Yeah, and as soon as you get better, if you start posting truthful things, then you'll see a lot less links making it from Belgium IP addresses to the United States people, because they're not allowed to be woken up. You know, in Russia, same thing in Russia, same where anywhere any real world power is. And right now, I think the next tip of the Rothschild spear is either going to be Russia or China, I think. And that's just a speculation. But I think they're done with America, which is why they're collapsing it. Hey, Sandra, good morning. If they are banned, they speak the truth. Ike, Butar, Mikovich. Right, if they're banned, then they're speaking too much truth, Lori. I don't think they're speaking total truth, because if you speak the total truth, if you finally figure it out, then they don't ban you, they put you in a casket. Which is why they put Martin Luther King in that casket. Why? Because he figured out that we need to fight for poor children, the poor white children, poor Vietnam children, the poor Black American children, the poor Latin American children, and that gets in the way of too many people. When you get in the way of too much power, they just kill you, right? It's like the few politicians I've known, close enough to know, to be honest with you, I say maybe 10, if I counted on my hand, and they'll all be honest with you if you really talk to them. You know, we can fight this, you can fight that, You can fight this player, you can fight this player, you can fight that player, you can fight that player. But if you fight the entire power, if you actually rage against the machine and stop just raging against this bolt or this arm or that, if you rage against the whole machine, or if you actually fight the power and you are really effective on a popular scale, they just kill you, you know? And politicians on their scale, if you are a politician, I have a few that follow me, then you know on your level it works that way as well. You can fight the water company, but you ain't gonna fight the water company, the power company, the 5G people, and everybody all at the same time. You gotta pick and choose your battles, and people even know that in a marriage, right? It as above, so below, all this stuff works together, which is why I think this is the perfect design, because common sense can actually show you how the world works. You really don't need to go click any links. You could just use your common sense. You might fight your wife on the bathroom. You might fight your wife on the kitchen. You might fight her about the garden design. You might fight her in the car that you're going to buy. You might fight her in those things. And you're okay because it's give and take. But if you fight your spouse on everything, yeah, it's called a divorce. Okay? You're never going to win if you fight on everything. All right. Love Sheena. Yeah, I do too, Barbara. She just drops a lot of honest truths out there. And she's got a great perspective coming from America over in Australia. And she's seeing how the world works. She talks about power and money. And for me, everything is about the principle and the economics. If you're talking about the principle and the economics, then we're really talking about change. If you're talking about politicians and the right butt cheek or the left butt cheek, because they're not political parties, then you're not talking about anything significant. Their technology is 20 steps ahead of ours. You think they can't access the dark web. Well, right, Susan, and people don't really understand that. They don't understand that they only told us about the stealth fighters when they had no other choice to tell us about the stealth fighters. They're not telling us about the tracking software because there's no need to, right? Power concedes nothing without demands. A deep state will concede nothing without demands. A government will never give up pedophilia without demands. A government will never give up power without demands. A government will never give you your land back without demands. A government will give you $1,200 a month, lock down, slap you in the face, and call you Susie. And communism and capitalism and socialism, whenever it needs to keep you a commodity on a slave plantation. Power concedes nothing without demands. And they're always 40 steps ahead of us. They're always 40 years plus ahead of us. I know someone, Susan, who actually wrote the software for the satellites that track everybody, which is why I talk about that loosely. I don't go into detail, but they're tracking you in every means possible. A good example, Susan, would be 24. That actually is closer to the truth, and that's probably 20 years behind in technology. They've had that ability for a long time. And that level, Edward Snowden told you. Edward Snowden told you that level, that was the ability to track anybody, anywhere, at any time. You're never offline, you're always online, they're always tracking you, and they're probably listening to you. And that was 20 years ago. Nobody knows what they have now. Which is why we have to have an open source society, Susan. I always go back to what are the solutions, right? Because, you talk about the problems and people are like, you always give them a solution. We have solutions. You got to grow up. You got to have an open source society. You got to give all power back to the people and not power to run the government, power to run their own lives and the government underneath that. And that's called a government. That's something that's run by the people that the people dictate to it. We're always changing. The energy matters. Yes, it does, Christine. Always put off positive vibes. Good morning, Amy. Dingleberry sprinkles. Yes, Lori, dingleberry sprinkles on ice cream will get you the cuckoo flu because it'll debilitate your immune system because sugar is a carcinogen and aspartame is bacteria doo-doo. Don't want to eat that. And you damn sure don't want to give it to your kids, even if they wear a costume and go scare the neighbors on Halloween day. You want to limit the poison you put in your child. Limit. Bacteria poo-poo is good, not bacteria poo-poo grown in the laboratory and then put inside your chocolate bar. Aspartame. I got that one from Alex Jones. Another one. Alex Jones is racist supremacist. Alex Jones was right on enough. He was right on enough for me to have followed him. I only stopped following him years ago because it wasn't as entertaining as it used to be. He's just a shock jock and an entertainer. trying to figure out if he wants to be a news pundit, and he's more shock jock than anything else. Don't let him shock you. It's all an act. He said it in the court. We learn by mistakes. We do, Christine. We step in the poo-poo. Learn by mistakes. Don't step in that poo-poo, and tell the people behind you, no, y'all don't step in that. Tell the next generation. It's like, Christine, how people say they'd do anything for the next generation, they'd do anything for their kids, but they won't stop voting for them, will it? No, they won't detach from that identity. No, they won't detach from the hate for politics or the love for politics. No, they won't do that. Nah, they rather their kids be enslaved and not own the land that cockroaches do. People are so lost. Sad. It is sad, Lori, but it's good too, because when you get so lost, it's always darkest before the dawn. Always darkest before the dawn. Whether we agree on this or not, we are all sheep in their pens. We depend on them for almost everything because we were too busy chasing the dream, whilst behind the scenes they were charging it to suit their paradigm, not ours. Brother Caveman, Kevin Lynn is truth from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom. We are all sheep. And that was the basis of the video I did a few days ago, Kevin, was it called Bah? No, it wasn't called Bah. It was called Sheep. Because I went to my Home Depot, Kevin, I had to wear that mask, and I hated wearing the mask, but I damn sure wore the mask. Why? Because I wouldn't be able to buy or sell unless I had some of the mark of the beast to go into the Home Depot. And if that ain't a sheep, I don't know what is. We're all sheep. It's just the only thing about sheep, Kevin, and us being sheep, is we can be ornery sheep, right? We can decide. They're the sheep that do everything that the shepherd say, because the shepherd got that shepherd stick. And then there's sheep that, yeah, I'm going to do what you say when it comes to going to Home Depot. I'm going to do what you say when it comes to paying taxes, because you got them hollow point bullets and you've been killing your citizens a long time. I'm going to do what you say on these things. But on certain things, I'm going to be ornery sheep, and I'm not going to do what you say. And where I defy the shepherd, Kevin, is always in the places that I think will open up exposure to others to see freedom. Hey, Kim Jackson, good morning. Hey, Trish. I'm a later gator sound like I need to watch the replay. All right, Caro, watch the replay, but definitely make sure that you subscribe to the two new ladies that are doing live streaming, which is Sheena and Kelly. Phenomenal women, and we need more women doing live streams. You say, well, why are you just saying the women? We need men too. Remember, don't get in those arguments. You need voices from everybody. We need more Aborigines doing live stream. We need more Native Americans doing live stream. We need more black folk doing it. We need more everybody doing live streaming, just telling their perspective on the world so we all can try to figure out what's going on. Cops in their walk of shame videos. Ooh, the perp walk, Jack. Yep, I need to see a lot more banks on that perp walk. That's how I know good things are happening, when I see banks doing the perp walk, when I see the leaders doing the perp walk, when I see politicians doing that perp walk, then I know good things are happening. Let me see. Hold on one second. There. I tapped somebody real quick or something came across my bed. We only need to know one thing, ourselves. For that comes love for all. That's it, Jonathan. I think if you love yourself, you love all. If you don't love yourself, you don't love nobody else. You can't. If you don't care about yourself, you're not gonna care about anybody else. It's like this whole marriage and dating thing, Jonathan. If you meet somebody that doesn't take care of themselves, they don't like themselves, they don't have dirty feet, they don't wear flip-flops and go grounding and stand in the mud and play in the swamp and get all their bacteria and microbiology. If you meet somebody that doesn't love themselves and they got Purell on their hands, killing all the microbiology, spraying it in their eyes because they're scared of nature and themselves, and they are a part of the ecosystem. When you meet people that don't love themselves, they're not going to love you neither. They're going to try to get you to put that Purell on. They're going to try to hide you from viruses. No, you got to find people who love themselves and know themselves more than they love billionaires and their TVs and their lives. You got to find people who love themselves and want to be themselves, not live a clone life of somebody else. They are abusers and they thrive on our self-doubt and manipulate our emotions. They do, Kim Jackson, and the best way to fight that's to turn that damn television on. Turn off the advertising that they use to break us. I just wore one time a mask. I couldn't do it. Feels like I'm being choked. Yeah, Christine, I wear that mask. I feel like I'm choking, and it's a horrible feeling. Plus, I feel like I'm stupid, and I don't like to be in the stupid army. I don't like that. I go outside, I need to breathe it in. Like right now, the pollen is getting to me, but I need to breathe in the pollen. The pollen makes me who I am, right? When I expose my white blood cells to the pollen, they're learning how to figure it out. And they're just not figuring out this ragweed or whatever it is. It's taking them a long time. I grew up in Maryland, never had allergies there. I got allergies here. And here in Pennsylvania, if I want to get used to the allergies, I got to get exposed to them. If I want to be able to fight off the virus and bacteria, I got to get exposed to it. It's like this guy, Jeremy Oliver. Named Jeremy Oliver? Yeah, it reminds me of Rebecca Costello. Just get in the water and swim with crocodiles and hippos and sharks and ain't got no fear, ain't got two dams. And Jamie Oliver, it's not Jamie, his name Jamie Oliver? Yes, Jamie Oliver. Not the guy going to the schools and telling them what healthy lunch is, where your government won't, but the Jamie Oliver who does river monsters. He just goes, jumps into lakes, swims with crocodiles and whatever else, and he has no fear. He has no fear whatsoever. But I think initially he probably got malaria and dysentery and everything else because he's going to all of these foreign countries, the countries just jumping easy stuff. But after a while, his body builds up an immunity to it. He's a part of the ecosystem, and if you're not a part of the ecosystem, then somebody is controlling you because they like selling you products. You're supposed to be dirty. Supposed to get dirty, not supposed to be dirty. Supposed to get dirty. Then take a shower, get some soap, natural soap, and then clean that dirt off. After your body gets the information, clean the dirt off. Everything is my teacher. Everyone has something to teach us. Yes, they do. Show me a politician who will wear a yellow vest, and there's not one of them, Jack. Not one of them. They all believe in the system because they're all a part of the system. It's like showing you somebody in the mafia who will talk bad about the mafia don. There's not one of them going to do that. The yellow vest symbolizes giving power back to the people, and you know that you got a politician that wants to do that when they will put on a yellow vest and scream, bring down the system, which is why none were doing that. The politician is going to call the police on you. Okay, Jamie Oliver, that's the chef, that's the one. Oh, he had a great show, Lori. What was the name of his show? Okay, Jamie Oliver, chef, and Jamie Oliver, river monsters. Okay, that's why I mix them up. But Jamie Oliver, he was a great whistleblower. That was one who was showing you how poison the school lunch is in California. I don't even know why California still exists. Meditations, feeling what is versus it into existence. You can think yourself into fallacy, but real is real. Both fine. I'm going to agree and disagree on that one. I don't know what real is. I don't know what real is. I have to be honest with you. I think we manifest more than anything. I do kind of believe in string theory and the multiverse and multiple dimensions. And I think that the fact that we can manifest the placebo effect in our body and literally make our bodies heal or give us the afflictions of age with the nocebo effect, joining the age cult, that means there's a lot more power than what we understand. There's a lot more to what's real than is real, right? There's a lot more going on here. And so I agree. I definitely agree with the thinking yourself into an existence, but the whole real part, I don't know what's real in it. I just know that I've been lied to from birth. They use exactly what we've given them. Our complacency, our ignorance, our fear. They are doing what we allow them to do because they know that we do whatever it takes to change the current, that we won't do whatever it takes to change the current paradigm. We aren't committed to evolution, we hesitate. They're just more committed than we are. Mostly agree, Kevin. I mostly agree. I mean, it's definitely consent. Like, we caused all of it, we agree with it, we keep voting for more of it. There's no question about that. And they do know that we're not yet, as a collective, willing to do what it takes to shift the current paradigm. They know that because they own the TV, they own the training, they indoctrinate us from birth. We aren't committed to evolution. I think we are, though. Like, I think at the core of the human being is good, everyone, but we're all put in environments to put in conflict with other people. I think at the core, we do want to evolve. And I think we have what it takes. We don't process the information. The information is not available to where we are in certain areas. So I think we can evolve and I think we can get there, but they know that we don't have the commitment because they control everything that we need, right? Land, food, water, freedom. They got all those on lock. If you own the land, the food, the water, and the freedom, then you know you own the species that's consenting to you owning those things. Police force protects the ruling class. Politicians are patsies. They absolutely do, Rebecca. It's not just the police force. It's the police force, Homeland Security, it's DHS, it's the military, it's your neighbors, half of y'all, it's your spouses and your boyfriends and your kids. Everybody is an order follower. Like Kevin said, everybody's sheep and everybody's sheeping along in different ways. But yeah, the laws aren't for you. The laws are against you, right? This is a war. It's always been a war on us. We just can't seem to accept that it's a war, and every piece of legislation is about taking freedom from a human being and giving it to a corporation, creating an industry off of enslaving the human race more and more and more and more, you know. But they have these things that they do that seem like a good idea at the time, and they fool people into agreeing to go along with it. So I'm not against police, and I'm not against Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, none of that. Because we're all complicit in our own little ways, right? We're all complicit in our own little ways. But I have no disillusions about what the law is, who writes the law, and the police will definitely deploy the law. They will deploy the hell out the law. That's what they get paid to do, because they got kids at home and they got to put bacon on the table. But I don't blame police. I'm not a police blamer. I'm not an order follower blamer, because everybody follows orders. Our problems are all collective. Our problems are all consciousness. As long as a haircut requires a mask, won't be getting a haircut. Give me a head of hair, long, beautiful hair. Yes, and you got long, beautiful hair, Rebecca Costello. Just don't let it get tied up in the reeds when you're swimming underwater with the crocodiles. The Naked Chef, Lori, I don't know what that is. I'm not sure I would watch that. I'm not sure. Well, depends on who that chef is. I don't know, because I'd be a little conscious about things hanging in the water. And usually with chefs, they don't get good till they get to the point where things is hanging. And I'm not sure I want that in my soup. Show me a cop who will wear a yellow vest. Ooh, that's another question. I know some that will, Jack. I know some that will. The funny thing is, a lot of the police get it, but we don't know that because they won't say it on television. But if you know police personally, there are many who get it. I know one who actually left New York City, and I mentioned her a long time ago. And she moved to the area because she was like, oh no, I know what's coming. I can see what's coming, and I'm not staying in the police force. I'm getting the hell out of here. So she ran out of New York City. And she had an interesting story too. If I ever run into her again, I'll try to interview her. She actually shot and killed someone. She had to shoot and kill. But when she told the story, you could see that it wasn't something she wanted to do, but it felt like something she was forced to do, and she still blames herself. And that's part of why she left the police force. But she knew it was the system, right? And the system is what it stacks up poor people against powerful people, right? Because that's the play. It stacks up poor, weak people against poor, powerful people, and it keeps the power in place, right? And what she explained, which is weird how this all loops back around, which takes us back to Robert Moss in New York City, Robert Moses in New York City, is she kind of explained that I have to police people that I'm pitted against who I don't want to be pitted against. But the laws are designed to make me do this, right? They engineer the laws the same way Robert Moses engineered New York City. Right? They engineer for prejudice. They don't list the prejudice in there. And as long as you keep people on the bottom, you'll keep people on the top. It's like this, everyone who's out there, all the activists who want to help things and they want to co-opt the system. As long as you want to co-opt the system that's based in force and control and abuse, you're not asking for any change. You want to be the abuser, right? If you still want the money to change the system, then you just want to be the oppressor. You just want to be the people in power. And to me, that's not change. That's not a paradigm shift like Kevin mentioned. You know, the difference between you taking control and a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift is something completely different than just putting other people in control. who also believe in power and control. You believe in power and control, you believe in power and control. Nothing's going to change if you take over the system. So if you want a paradigm shift, you got to do something different. You want a paradigm shift, you got to do it different. You got to take in different information. I can't be the only one who understands that cops are protecting dirty politicians. Nope, Jap, I think most people here get that. And I want to make sure people know that no, I'm not making excuses for the police. I'm making excuses for me. I pay my taxes. I wore my mask at Home Depot. I'm just saying we're all controlled on everybody's level. They're controlled, even on the level of the presidents and the prime ministers and the government. They're all controlled, and they're all going to do exactly what the level of control on that level allows. Like Jack, I was listening to Kevin Hart was on Rogan, I guess a few days ago. I was listening to part of that yesterday. And people say Rogan is controlled opposition. They'll say Kevin Hart is. They'll say Dave Chappelle is. He was talking about Dave Chappelle and how Dave Chappelle is free. How he just rolls around and does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, shows at the comedy clubs. Other people got to book and wait their turn and get there. And he just walks and he lives free because he's for the most part that I can tell, he's kind of been true to himself. And he kind of carved out his own lifestyle. He was willing to walk away from money, and he did. He walked away from, was it $150 million contract? He walked away. And if you can walk away from that, you can live free. And so he got his freedom. But anyway, why did I say that? Someone mentioned Dave Chappelle and said, oh, because Dave Chappelle said something powerful, and somebody, I think it was on Kelly's thread, that said, well, that doesn't mean a lot coming from somebody who went to John McCain's funeral. And I'm just sitting there, I'm kind of sitting back, and I'm like, well, everybody on their level, to a degree, is controlled, right? If Dave Chappelle says something true, it's true. It ain't got nothing to do with what he else did. Like there's always this need to take identity and syncing up with somebody. If what they say is true, it's true. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters, right? If you got an issue with Dave Chappelle going to John McCain's funeral, who was a war criminal, I get the point. I just disagree with the conclusion. Which is then you must not pay your taxes. You must not vote. You must not do all the things. You don't wear a mask. You're not on lockdown. You're out there living your life, right? Everybody's controlled on all levels. All you can do is do the bit that you can do to try to make a difference. That's Jamie Oliver's show. You asked about, Gerard, it was the Naked Chef because of raw food. Was it, Lori? How come I don't remember that? I just remember he went around, maybe he had multiple shows. He was from the UK, and he was going around the United States, mostly in California, a lot in California, showing them that we're killing kids with our school processed food lunch diets. I didn't know it was called that, although it does sound familiar. This was years ago. Good morning, Jackie. Let me see. But there are truly good cops and truly corrupt ones, just like within pretty much is labeled. Kim Jackson, I think I'm going to say on that I think that it's a spectrum. I think good and bad is a spectrum. I think you got, it's more sustainable and unsustainable. You have some police, like military, like everybody else, that are deeper down on that controlled side, and some that are deeper up on the less controlled side. I don't think any are absolute. And even if there are some that are absolute 100%, everybody can change in a day, right? One good night's sleep, one good nightmare, one dream can change everything. Too many Goldman Sachs and Big Pharma sponsored content. Well, that's how you know who runs the world, Jonathan. That's how you know who runs the world. Whoever's thriving, whoever's on every corner, whoever's behind all the commercials, those are the people in dark times. Those are the ones that are still making money. Those are the ones that you need to avoid. Those are the ones who probably called the conditions that you're being forced to survive with. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I got work to do. I remember the first show. Okay, I guess he had multiple shows, Lori. Maybe it was called The Naked Chef. I don't remember. People, the homeowners, customers, not the contractors, are all very rude and are being jerks. Okay, you're talking about what's happening in your area. There's so many Karens requesting to talk to the management when HD actually is very short of staff, and Home Depot is very short of staff and doesn't have time to school, try to school homeowners on how things work. Yeah, weird things, Citizen Deb. But the thing to remember on it is that they're making trillions of dollars. They've totally co-opted the system. Everyone's disaster capitalizing, and we're all captive customers to a few elites businesses. And until people figure out what that means, that there's always a deep state, there's always disaster capitalism, there's always somebody capitalizing on the disaster that everybody has to live with. That's just the system and how the world works. And that's how it always will work as long as you got secrets. As long as you got secrets, you have powerful people. As long as you got powerful people, they will not let you see what's behind the curtain, because that's the only thing that makes them being in power work behind the curtain. No absolutes. Just in general. Absolutely, Kim. And it could be absolutes. I don't know. I guess the reason I say that is because when we categorize people, it kind of makes it so that they can't reform. And you can be total evil one day and be a total angel the next day. And I think we got to give people a chance. The only thing that doesn't reform are systems, right? You create a system based in power and money, it'll never reform itself. People are highly reformable. Every single day, they can be modified. You got to give them a chance to. That's all I'm saying. All right, how you going? Y'all have a great day. Patterns, we are creatures of habit. We sure are, Kim. We are creatures of habit, and we need to change our habits into doing positive things for the ecosystem that we live in. Buy flip-flops because they get bacteria under your toes and they make you healthy. Why do they flip-flop? Because they aren't actually in control. You vote for them, and they do exactly what the powerful bureaucracies, deep states, corporations, whatever you want to call them, tell them to do. Anyways, Gerard, I got to go. Y'all have a great day. I am out of here. Bye-bye.